cooking episode. This week we're doing a Southern comfort recipe called chicken and dumpling soup. A lot of people use the cream of chicken recipe out of a can. I actually make mine fully from scratch. So we will do this step by step instead of having all the ingredients out at one time. I'll be having the ingredients out for each step. So let me get everything prepped and started off here, and we'll be back in just a minute. Okay, starting off with my French oven. Got it warmed up to about medium heat. We'll start off with a half stick of butter. Go ahead and let that melt down. And while that's melting down, let me get my garlic out. I do like my minced garlic. Kind of saves the trouble of having to mince it myself. Yeah, you want to at least get the butter all the way melted down, but do not brown it. While it's melting down, what I do is 5 stalks of celery, 4 carrots, and 1 medium-sized onion. This is like the holy trinity of culinary arts. We'll go ahead and put that in here and go ahead and start it to sweat. I like a lot of vegetables in mine. Actually gives a good flavor. So while it's doing that, you go ahead and put some garlic in there. I like to put a lot of garlic. We'll go with 2 to 3 tablespoons. If you're using garlic from a jar, make sure you drain it. You don't want all that fluid going in there. That's 2. And when I say 2 to 3, I mean heaping tablespoons. About that much. 2 to 3 of these. And spread it around. Go and put the lid back on. And you can do this with either rotisserie chicken, and I'd say use about a half a rotisserie chicken on this. I took 6 tenderloins, baked them in the oven with salt and pepper and dill weed and garlic powder, and cooked them for about 25 minutes or so. And then I'll chop them up and add them into the soup just a little bit later on. So we're going to wait. We're going to cover this, and well, first I have to give it a stir. Make sure it's all down there. There we go. And like I said, this is known as the holy trinity of culinary arts. We'll go ahead and cover this and wait till everything softens, and we'll wait till tenders, and then also wait until the onion is translucent. So we'll be back in just a few moments. Alright, we're to a point where everything is pretty well softened. We'll give it a good stir here. The onions are pretty well translucent. The carrots and the celery has softened up and tenderized quite a bit. You can go with a quarter to a third cup. I usually use a third cup and just take a scoop out. You want to kind of make a roux. So you pour in the flour, you mix it in. What this will do, will thicken up the soup. Instead of using like a cornstarch or Campbell's soup, cream of chicken or anything like this. This will make the roux. It'll soak up all the butter. And when you add the stock, as long as you keep stirring, it'll thicken up the stock. So I'm going to stir this until it is well coated everything. Don't worry about small lumps here or there. They will break up when you pour in the stock. This is pretty well done right here. Alright, so next up, I'm going to drop it down to about a little bit lower, medium low. If you have numbers on yours, number 2 out of 10. And I use 2 pounds, 32 ounces of chicken stock on this. We'll go ahead and pour that in. And you're going to use the whole box of stock here. Trying to wash that carrot off the side. Alright, so give this a good stir. And stir it for probably about 2-3 minutes. While we're working on that, we'll be back in just a moment. Alright, so next up, as you notice, I haven't added the spices yet. You want to wait till you get everything boiled before you add the spices, because you don't want to boil the spices out. If you boil it too long with the spices in there, you'll lose the taste. They just end up boiling out. So what I do is chopped up my chicken. You see they're smaller bites. I'll go ahead and pour that into the soup. Give that a good mix and make sure it comes up to temperature. You want a, not exactly a boil, but you do want it to be pretty hot. Again, with the chicken, it was salt, pepper, garlic powder, and dill weed. And you bake it without any oil or butter on it for at least 25 minutes at 375. Again, you can use a rotisserie chicken. I suggest you use a half a rotisserie. And if you use a small chicken, about a half. If you use a larger chicken, maybe the breast if it's good sized, and the thigh and the meaty part of the drumstick. You want to, if you're using rotisserie, you want to use all the white and dark meat. But for right now, I'm going to let this simmer for about 20 minutes or so. Let everything mingle in. And when I come back, we'll add the seasoning, let it cook for another 20 minutes. All right, we'll be back in a bit. All right, 20 minutes has gone by. This is thickened up quite a bit. It's about as thick as real maple syrup. It's not extremely thick, but it's not runny. You can tell that there's a viscosity to it. So this is about the point you want to go ahead and add your seasoning. Now, as for the seasoning, about a tablespoon of rosemary, a tablespoon of thyme, and a tablespoon of onion powder, a teaspoon of white pepper, a teaspoon of black pepper, and about a teaspoon of salt. Mainly all that's for to taste. The salt is for to taste, basically. So you definitely want to use white pepper in cream-based soups. It's a better flavor. You can add black pepper if you want. So we'll go ahead and dump that in. Give it a good mix. You want a lot of pepper in this soup. That's where a lot of the flavor comes from, is the pepper. So we'll go ahead and stir that in. Let that mingle. Give it about 10 minutes or 10 to 20 minutes. We'll just see what happens in 10. And let the flavors all mingle into the soup. You can choose not to for the next step, or you can choose to do so. I usually use sour cream to cream this. You can use heavy cream. You can use just basic whipping cream. Sour cream I find is a good one to do for this too, because it's cheaper and it just adds a little bit better flavor to it. So we'll be back in about 10 minutes and we'll go from there. All right, so we're on the home stretch here. What I usually do is add about 8 ounces of sour cream. I actually have about half of a 16-ounce container left. So we'll go ahead and add the rest of this to it. You don't have to add all of it. A major portion of it you can use. Go ahead and stir that in. Mix that in evenly, and it'll clearly cream the soup. Now at this point, you can just leave it as is and just be a chicken vegetable cream soup. Or you can add the dumplings to it. I usually make the Bisquick recipe for just normal breakfast biscuits. And then I'll put like little small dumplings all in the soup. I didn't want to go through the recipe for that this time. So I had frozen biscuits. Chopped each one up into 6 parts. And we'll throw that in at last. I'm going to go ahead and bring the temperature up just to make sure it's nice and hot. You don't want to put them in there and it dropped the temperature and you're not able to cook the biscuits. They'll just end up being just lumps. So you want to go ahead and put it up to medium, wait till it starts boiling, and that's when you start putting the dumplings in. So we'll be back in just a moment. So that really didn't take long to bring it back up to temperature. It's already starting to steam pretty good and already starting to bubble. As you can see, a little bit of movement here. So what you want to do, about this size here, that's about the size of dumpling you want to go in there. You want to put them in one at a time so they don't stick together. Give it a good stir. Add in the next batch. Separate them out. Give it a good stir. They're still a little bit frozen, but that's perfectly fine. They will cook in the soup. You want to give it about 15 minutes to make sure that these cook. So we will cover this, drop it down to about medium low, and let it cook for about 15 minutes. And the soup should be done by then. Again, we'll be back in just a few moments. Drop the temperature. Alright, see y'all in a moment. So 15 minutes are up. I went ahead and turned the stove top off. It's still kind of boiling for the moment. I'm going to let it sit for about 5-10 minutes to rest. But as you see, it's definitely thickened up. The dumplings have grown. And ready to serve pretty much. Like I said, just need to let it sit for about 5-10 minutes to cool and rest for a little while. Then pretty much the soup is done. I'll serve it up here in a little bit and take pictures. So as usual, if you give my recipes a try, please let me know how they turn out. And we'll see you again next time. And until then, have a great week and a great weekend. Eat, drink, and be merry, and always enjoy life. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. And we'll see you next time.